Can you hear us, Tim? Microphone? You trying?
Are we muted?
Oh, hold on, maybe I can.
I got it. Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can now. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna open the meeting. This is Wednesday, August 14th. We have an amended agenda. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and it will be broadcast over Lunenburg Public Access Channel and uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So I'm going to open the meeting. We'll do a roll call. So Karen here, Tim,
Yep.
Here?
Here. Yep.
Chris here, and Anita here, and Colleen is not able to make it this evening. And at the table, we also have Chris Ruth with us, the facilities director. Okay, so quickly, before we get into some of our major items, we have a request from a resident over by McNally. Dan Lincoln has asked that he be allowed to work with Lakeview Landscaping at his expense to plant a tree right next to the sign at McNally. And so I've asked for details in terms of what they would like to have planted there. And Mark Bush from Lakeview said that it's going to be a Coosa dogwood, which is a vertical branching tree that has 15 to 20 foot tall, mature height, 15 to 20 feet wide, mature width. And he had suggested that, you know, as long as Chris Ruth, our facility manager, was okay with it, that he was, said that he was asking that the committee approve it. So, not having been on the committee before when these types of things came up, I'm not sure what kind of concerns or considerations we would have.
My only concern would be, the exact location, just making sure it's not impeding view,
Mhm.
and that they call dig safe. The fact that working with Lakeview is fantastic, because they're our current landscaping contractor,
Mhm.
so we already have their insurance, and you know, I'm comfortable with that. I just wanna make sure we're not impeding the roadway, or it's somewhere that, you know, DPW may have to trim it back at some point.
Yeah.
'Cause
Good
we
points.
don't wanna be involved in that.
Okay.
I'm trying to picture where the sign is in a lot compared to like where people park, so the
I
impact.
think it's on that hill.
I'm pulling it up
before you
right now.
pull in.
Like, just thinking impact on parking, like depending where there's impact on parking,
Is-
apartments back there anyway.
If it's on that hill, I don't think we'd get parking. I just worry about how close we get to the road.
I'm trying to think like,
I'm not, I don't even know where the,
you know.
It's right, I think, in the gravel where it starts coming in the hill there.
Can you see where she's showing on her computer screen?
So. It's this hill here, this sign is over here, I believe. And it's kind of like a mounded up area on the edge of the road.
okay,
I'd be happy to meet the resident out there and look at it if it's ideally during the day, but. Sure, I can make something after I was working if I had to.
Okay,
Just keep.
so I am happy to make a motion, to allow, Dan Lincoln to plant a tree over at McNally Field with the final, location being approved by Chris Ruth.
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
This is gonna be a roll call vote, so Karen,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
and Anita, aye, okay. All right, so I will let them know, I'll let Dan, Lincoln and Mark from Lakeview know tomorrow and ask them to reach out to you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm gonna go out of order if that's okay with people. I'm gonna go skip to number 4, which is beach house signage and discussion and approval.
All right, so how do I share my screen from this device? Hold on one second, I would like to share what I have. Maybe I don't need. Share screen. I don't know how to share my screen. So I guess I can try to show it to you on my laptop. Alright, so what's happened is,
It-
the,
I was gonna say, sorry, Karen, it says host is disabled screen share.
yeah, that's what I'm getting. I have two laptops up. I have my regular laptop that I'm trying to share from is saying it's disabled. I don't know how to enable it on. I don't use this device very often, so, cause it's provided by the town.
Oh, there, got it.
Again, let me just look at this real quick. Who can share? I got it. I found it, people. Nobody panic yet. You'll be able to. You'll be able to see it, Tim. Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. I didn't know you were gonna call on me so quick, Anita.
Sorry.
All right, so what's happened is the sign at the beach house needs to be replaced. We have had a generous offer from Dillis and Roy in the center of town to help cover the cost of that sign. So I had reached out to 3 different contractors, one in Leominster, one in Fitchburg, and one in Lunenburg, and 2 of them got back to me. Lunenburg, which is Turning Leaf Designs, and Add a Sign out of Leominster got back to me. So just wanting to get some idea of pricing from them. They each sort of created some samples of what it could look like. So let me see if I could share. So this is the design coming out of Turning Leaf. Close this. Can you see that, Tim?
Yep, I can.
So this is design, some of the design ideas that came from Turning Leaf. They came out and measured, I met them down there. Any of this can be tweaked. This is a flat sign, that runs about $650. And it would just, obviously, we'd be taking the old one down and putting the new one up. And this one seems easy enough that we could grab a ladder and just install it ourselves type thing. He didn't offer to install it. I could certainly ask them if they would install it.
I can have my guys do it.
Yeah, this seemed, it seemed easy enough. The other one, the other Add a Sign, they, let me show 2 different ones first. Let's see. I'm gonna share this now. All right, so this is Add a Sign. This is a sample on a building, so it stands about an inch or so off the building. I'll pull up the dimensions in a minute, but it's about the size of what we had. They run, I think they were closer to like 7. I have it in my email. They were closer to 7. This is one that you don't see the hardware. And for like $350 or so, they were willing to come in, remove our old sign, which is sort of comical because it's like 4 screws. Like I think one of our children could remove it.
How much does that save off the bill?
So I think I'll have to pull, yeah, with my kids, I'd have to pull up, this is another one, I think. Between Chris and I, we could probably figure out how to install this one too. And this is the very quick design that he came up with. And I have to stress, these are very quick designs. And both of them said that they would be willing to work with us to, tweak it the way we want. This is almost the size of what we have now, which is rectangular at the bottom, and then it's domed. There's like a half circle, I think at the top and bottom, if I'm not mistaken. So this size would cover the entire, like where the old sign is coming off.
Which would be ideal, because it's gonna be, the fading of the siding won't match.
It might not, I was thinking of that, because I haven't gone down to try to like brush it off at all. That was one thing that I was going to do, was go down and clean the outside of the building. It doesn't get much sun on that side. So I don't know how much, there could be sun fading, I don't know. And we could certainly, if somebody felt strong to stay within Lunenburg with Turning Leaf, I could certainly ask him for, an updated price for, to, make the sign bigger. So this one here, this is the one from Add a Sign. He said, this sign would be $695, about $75 additional for a design fee, and approximately $295 for removal of old sign and installation of new. So
Two hundred
these
and
are
$95, that's crazy.
for installation and, well, especially with,
Prevailing wage.
yes, that's part of it, and, it also, there's only 4 screws that I think need to come out of the old one, so. I guess my question to you guys is, number one, is this an offer from Dillis and Roy that we would like to generously accept? I think we'd be crazy if we didn't. I think it was extremely nice of them. I didn't approach them. They had actually threw it out to us at a meeting.
It's nice.
And then the question is, do we want to do the, you know, the more flat, similar style that we have now, that Turning Leaf is offered, and the price from Turning Leaf, a 66 by 18-inch flat sign with gold lettering and a border would run approximately $700. So sign wise, it's about the same price. This one's bigger. It's got a different frame. And the only thing I can say on this one is that I think I'd want to work with them to tweak the design so it doesn't look as commercial. I think something that fits the neighborhood feel
Yeah,
would be more appropriate.
Have you
it
seen,
seems stark.
Yes, yeah,
I'm pretty sure we used Add sign for the new, senior center sign, or adult
Okay.
center.
okay.
So if you wanna take a look at that, I'm pretty sure that's what we used over there.
Okay. So that's what I was throwing on the agenda. I, was hopeful that we could get this beach house dedicated this year. I think we're running really close to the line to be able to do that. So it could be something that, we could get the sign installed this fall and then do a formal dedication, like
Opening.
ASAP, like opening day type thing.
Yeah. That would be nice.
In the summer of next year. Yeah, so,
So my experience with Add sign is, once you just, and I don't know the other guys, they could be fantastic, I just never worked with them, I've done quite a bit with them. A sign like that, they could probably have you in a week,
okay,
once it's approved. Just, they print on a big sheet, so it's not a
Right.
whole lot to put it
Right, right.
together.
What's the material for both of them?
let's see, so this one, the one from the other one, which is from,
Turning Leaf?
Turning Leaf. He doesn't say what it is, all he said was a flat sign, 66 by 18 with gold lettering and border would run approximately 700. A carved sign, which I think is what we have outside here. Turning Leaf is the one that did the sign
Yes.
at Ritter here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a carved sign of the same side with gold letters and a border would run $2,700 for a carved one.
Yeah, we don't need cards.
I don't think we need that, and that's what I had, said. He said he can make flat signs look outstanding with heavy contrast and small details. So that's that one, and then the other one. This type of sign is called a belt sign with a raised frame, see attached picture. So the sign ends up being about 1.25 inches thick with no visible screws. They are hidden behind the trim and is completely aluminum.
Is it to stick off the,
It would stick off 1.25 inches. This
well, I
one-
mean, is there a gap behind, or does it sit pretty flush? Like, I'm just thinking about
It-
birds
they-
nesting.
They'll be as flush as they can to the sides, you have the.
Yeah, you'll
I was
see
thinking
that.
about birds nesting or something like that, if it was stuck off the building, there's a
It
gap.
Won't be the birds, it'll be the bees, but any
Yeah.
sign's gonna have the same issue.
Yeah.
It's like putting shutters on your house.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Well, the things I like about this sign is, I like the town seal on it. I just think this particular appearance
Yep.
is way too stark.
And he said that, he said, I literally just threw a design together to figure a size. We would tweak if the job went live.
Yeah.
And I think I would, if this is something that you guys wanted to move forward with a similar style, I can do. One of two things, I could go down, either way, I'd go down and probably ask to sit with them and see what we can come up with. Maybe talk about, colors and the neighborhood that it's in and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I can bring the design back to us for final approval if we're gonna wait and do a dedication in the spring.
Yeah.
Or if somebody really wants to push it through, and dedicate before the end of this beach season, then I would, be asking that you don't make me come back with another approval, because it would just delay it. And, have me say, this is the I'd come back to Chris and Angela versus coming back to the commission to say this, what do you guys think of this, with the second set of eyes?
I think it would have been nice if we could have done this, this beach season.
Yeah.
But I just don't see this being doable, in order for us to all have a comfort level about the appearance of the sign. And, so I would, if you're willing, I would say that'd be great if you could go back and, just a touch base with Turning Leaf to see if he can do the sign a little bit bigger, and if he did, what would that cost be? And for add a sign to say, can we tweak this to make it a softer?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that their prices right now are similar, and Turning Leaf is half the size
Yeah.
of this, so I think it's gonna be
It'll be more,
considerably more.
but he may still.
Yeah, I don't
try
mind
to
going
work
back
with
to
us.
them, I don't mind going back to them.
And then we could bring it back, if there's at our October meeting, because as long as it's done before fall, before weather gets bad, if we're not gonna do the dedication this year, approving this in October should be fine.
I have a thought that you guys are either gonna love or wanna hate you for it. In my experience with Addison, we should just send them a design. Do we wanna do some sort of, let the community try designs thing, or is that opening up
What do you, what do you mean, like have like something similar to this, like say to them, throw together what you want?
Put a
or
blank
to-
box and say, do we have anyone in town that wants to volunteer their design and that type of thing, or?
We have time. I,
I mean, if we're doing it this year,
interesting sort
we have
of,
no shot at doing it. If it's next year and we have the time,
I
I think
guess I'm
it's,
just wondering how it would work in terms of, like, are you thinking like somebody would be hand drawing something?
no, someone that can use Photoshop, I know, I never met Jen, I just know there's a ton of people that. Obviously, we're dedicating that building to her,
Yeah.
maybe there's someone out there that had a thought, but.
My only concern with that is that, I understand that this is a beach house, it's not one of our formal town buildings. But at the same time, I'd like to think that we have some consistency in the signage that we have throughout town.
True.
So I would vote to not do that in this instance.
It doesn't make a difference to me either way, so.
It doesn't matter to me, I know I've been keeping lists of people that have come to our meetings. That are coming to our meetings specifically for Jen, I'm happy to even, once we come up with a design, if we're gonna wait till the spring, so to say to them, like, in honor of Jen, what do you guys think of this? And, double check with our daughter too,
yeah, family could take a look at.
yeah.
Okay, so I would like to have us consider having you go back and see what else you can come up with for design for that. And compare, then, have it come back before the committee, and then, we're in no hurry to get this vote taken if it's not gonna, so, and then we can bring it back and have time for you to reach out to family or friends and.
Do you, two questions, and one of these is probably more for Chris, is that, should we have Dillis and Roy work directly with them for payment, or do we need to run it through the town?
If they're donating it, I mean, Addison's already a contractor. I think it's probably more paperwork if we pay for it than they pay us. I think. Just having them do it and where
Okay,
they're both already vendors in the town, all it would be is send us an updated insurance cert, and at that point, we're good.
okay,
One other thing I'd like to add is we're working on getting the railings all sanded and repainted on
Okay.
both the front deck and the ramp, so it'll.
when is that happening? Do you know?
I don't know, I have the price, I'm gonna. have
No,
to-
that's fine, I don't mind going over with the brush, like I said I was gonna do, and like scrub down the outside of the building. I should probably do it before they go over, so that I'm not,
He's not gonna spray, he's gonna go and sand every.
no, but I'm gonna, if I'm gonna clean the outside of the building with a brush and a.
Oh, yeah. so I gotta-
brush on a
before he gets
stick and-
fresh paint.
And I think it would make more sense to do it before they get over there.
He's probably, at this point, he's probably a month out,
Okay,
so.
all right. I'm gonna start sharing these.
All right, so do we feel like we need to have a vote on that, or just?
I don't think so, I don't, I think this one, I hate to rush, a memorial sort of event. So close to the end of the season and so forth, so I think that's the right decision.
And I can touch base with, the beach staff, her daughter, and just let them know that, this is where we at, and it just wasn't in the cards to be done, and we wanna make sure the sign's done right. I'll reach out to Dillis and Roy and let them know that this is an offer we plan on accepting. And that this is what our next step is, and we'll, keep it in the loop.
It might be nice to take a vote to accept the Dillis and Roy
We
donation.
have to accept, I think we have to.
We're we do have to accept it anyway, and then, so, I mean, but I don't think it makes, Dillis and Roy's, they're not gonna pull it from us, so
Mhm.
even if we wait to accept the whole thing as one gift, that's fine too.
Once we see the design and
Yeah.
everything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so no action taken on that. Karen, thank you for
Yeah.
running on that. We Appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna go back to item 3, which is the scoring of the proposals from the design firms for Marshall Park. And, and let's see, so we did receive 3 proposals from landscape design firms.
Yes.
And those firms were Nezra Engineering out of Plainville, Mass, Fuss and O'Neill, and they are out of
Marshfield.
Marshfield, thank you.
Mhm.
And then RDLA, and they are out of Boston. So each member of the commission received a copy of the proposals to review and to score individually.
Plus, we'll get a spring.
Oh, is it Springfield?
Okay, thank
I
you.
thought it said Marshfield on there. Oh, Marshall Park. Oh, good grief.
And so each individual member scored it individually. The purpose of this discussion tonight is simply to gather the scores from each member of the commission and tally them together so that we have a ranking of the scoring for these 3 firms. The next step on this would be that we would schedule interviews with the 3 firms. If we had had more firms submitting, we would likely have just chosen the top 3 scoring firms. But in this instance, we had only the 3, so unless someone has adamant concern about including any of these firms, it makes sense to go ahead to interview the 3 firms, and that would happen hopefully next Wednesday at our meeting on the 21st.
Yeah.
So before we get into the scoring, Tom Doolittle, the OPM, did have a question, and he asked, is it something that the committee feels that they could do to start the meeting on the 21st at 6:30 versus 7 PM, just to give us a little bit more time? There's gonna need to be a few minutes of discussion about the references and all that, Scanso is doing reference checks for us, et cetera. Even though some of them did include reference information in here, Scanso was doing the more formal reference checks for us, so, that would get thrown into the mix. But we can do that before we actually start the interviews at our next meeting. And then after the interviews, it would be intended that we would, as a committee, sit down, discuss, and then, make a decision based on the results of the interview and the scoring as to which firm we'd like to ask the town to go ahead and contract with.
So I have a question for you. So I obviously thought about this all day, all weekends, whatever. And when I did my scoring, a lot of mine were all, they're basically identical, because I think they're 3 qualified people. But I do have a question. One of our criteria that we have is projects over a certain amount, a certain number of projects. And one of them, I don't believe included those number figures. So,
There's some inconsistencies.
yes, so I'm wondering, I don't have an issue interviewing them all. Do I have a favorite? Absolutely. But again, they're in my rankings, there's not a huge difference.
Mhm.
But I would love to know, through RDLA, some of their projects and the pricing on those projects, because it's really hard for me right now to look at them and compare their projects to others.
So some of them in the back, they had like a separate section.
Did I just miss it?
All the way in the back, it's
Okay.
separate like.
So it just wasn't in
price
it?
list,
Okay.
but it wasn't
Okay, so I just,
It was kind of out of order.
I may have just gotten annoyed halfway through and said, I don't know where this is,
Yeah,
therefore this is the
there's-
score they're getting,
Last
okay,
pages had
okay, thank
some
you. for
dollar
pointing
amounts
that
to
out.
it. But
Okay,
I thought the same thing, I was like, where are the dollar, like, I was going from, like, there's no dollar. amount.
okay, as long as there's
But
something,
there was another one that didn't have dollar amounts on some projects too,
In,
there's a
in,
different
in,
one. They're like,
they included it
Some
in two
had dollar
different
amounts, and then
areas.
some didn't have a
Yes.
dollar amount, and I was like, now,
Yeah,
so, yeah.
but they were there and
Yeah.
just.
But
okay,
there were
this
enough
makes
that had
sense, I'm
dollar
glad that they're at the
amounts
bottom, because I literally thought they like left them off, and I was like, this wasn't the direction, but I'm glad to know that the
Yeah.
direction was followed. And just, I don't know if you caught it, Chris, the civil engineering firm for, RDLA, with Meridian,
Mhm.
with Nick Betts.
Yeah.
And,
I saw that.
Fox and O'Neill has who absorbed Wola, has their own.
They're on.
civil
Yeah, I saw it in Nick's face.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's Nick.
They came to, Meridian came to
The sidewalk.
the site walk that happened, and as did, Fox and O'Neill. I don't think Nezra was there, but not, it doesn't matter, they've got all their questions answered, obviously.
Okay, so any other general questions or comments before we start tallying?
No, I mean,
Okay. All right, so, I think the best way to go through it is to do each tab. And I'll ask you for your score for each firm for each tab. And then I'll move on to the next tab. Okay, so the first tab is general quality of the response. And I'm gonna read these so that the public sees that highly advantageous would score 4, and that would be if they exceeded all of the request for proposals requirements, including format, understanding of project, and completeness of proposal. 3 points would be advantageous, meeting all the requirements, including format, understanding of project, and completeness of proposals. 2 would be met all basic proposal requirements. Some follow-up for clarification or amplification may be required. And 1 would be unacceptable, did not meet 1 or more of the requirements. So. Let me just go back here. Okay, so on tab 1.
tab A.
Thank you. Quality of response. Okay, and I'm gonna make a comment that Colleen Shapiro is not able to be here tonight, but she did share her scores with me, so I do have them inserted into the tally sheet. Okay, so for, quality of response, Karen, what did you have for Fuss and O'Neill?
I had a 3,
Okay, for Nezra
I had a 4,
and for RLDA.
3.
Okay, Chris, what'd you have for Fuss and O'Neill?
3,
For Nezra,
3. Oh, no, sorry, 2,
2, and for RLDA.
3.
3. Okay, Tim, you did send me your scores, but I'm gonna ask you to state them out if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so for Fuss and O'Neill, you had,
I had a 3 for tab A.
yeah, Nezra
I had a 4 for Nezra.
and RLDA.
I had a 3.
Okay, thank you. And then, so you all know, Colleen for Fuss and O'Neill had 4, for Nezra, she had 3, and RLDA, she had 4. And for my scores, Fuss and O'Neill 4, Nezra 4, RLDA 4. Okay, we're gonna move on to tab B. This is project experience. So Karen, what did you have?
I
for-
actually have 4 across the board.
Okay, that makes it easy. All right, Chris, how about you?
Fuss and O'Neill was a 4. Nezra was a 3. And RDLA was a 4.
Okay, all right, Tim,
I had a Nesra as a 4, Fuss and O'Neill is 3, and then RLDA is a 4.
is a 4? Okay, all right, and Colleen had, Fuss and O'Neill 4, Nezra 4, RLDA 4. I had Fuss and O'Neill 4, Nezra 4, RLDA 3. Okay, next section is references and reputation. I'm not gonna have us put numbers in this section
Yeah.
tonight because we weren't the ones doing the formal reference checks. So we're gonna skip to tab D, which is technical and management approach to the project. So Karen,
Come back to me, because I wanna look at one thing to make sure this is
Okay.
actually correct.
so Chris, what did you have for Fuss and O'Neill?
I went 4 across the board,
4,
hit
okay,
an edge to a couple, but 4 across the board.
That's what I have too, and so my numbers are correct.
all right, so you had 4 for
I
each,
did.
okay, Tim,
Nessra, I had 4, Fussin O'Neill, I had 3, and then RLDA, I had 4.
okay, all right, and Colleen had Fuss and O'Neill 4, RLDA 4, Nezra, excuse me, I got that backwards. RLDA was 3 and Nezra was 4. And I had 4 for Fuss and O'Neill, 4 for Nezra, and 3 for RLDA.
RDLA.
RDLA. I didn't save my top columns. Okay, so. All right, so this next tab E is proposed staffing. And let's see. So Karen,
So I did it in 2 sections. I did the team members and I did the subs.
okay,
How did everybody else do it?
it's a full panel. That's
So
what I
do
did.
everybody, okay, so I'm gonna go, Fuss and O'Neill 4, Nezra 4, RDLA 3.
Chris,
RDLA was 4, Fussin O'Neill was a 4, Nestor was 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, Tim,
I had 3s across the board for them. I had inside, but we can discuss this later.
okay. Yeah, because I put you down as 3 across the board, yeah. Okay, so for Colleen, she put 3 for Fuss and O'Neill, 3 for Nezra, and 4 for RDLA. I put 4 for Fuss and O'Neill, 4 for Nezra, and 3 for RDLA. Okay, tab F is firm stability and capacity. And Karen,
I have 4 across the board.
okay. Chris,
I had 4 for Fuss, I had a 4 for RDLA and a 3 for Nestor.
okay, Tim, Tim for firm stability and capacity,
Muted.
oh, okay,
Let me see if I can unmute him.
Yep, you guys hear me?
Nope.
we can now,
No.
okay,
Great.
go ahead.
For on Nessra, I had a 4.
Yeah,
For Fussin O'Neill, I had 2, and for RDLA, I had a 3.
okay. All right, and Colleen had 3 for Fuss and O'Neill, 3 for Nezra, and 2 for RDLA. I had 4 for Fuss and O'Neill, 4 for Nezra, and 3 for RDLA. Okay, and then forms. Each proposal included the legally required forms, so there's no real scoring on that. Just,
Acceptable.
yeah, I didn't even bother to put a score capacity in there, but just to check mark that each of them did meet that very basic requirement. If they did not include the forms, then technically we would not have even been able to consider their proposals. Okay, so based on the scoring of including all the scores except for those under the references, we have Fuss and O'Neill at 90, Nezra at 91, and RDLA at 83. So that means that we have the top is Nezra, and that's 91. Fuss and O'Neill was 90, and RDLA was 83. Okay. Before we did the scoring, we had talked about wanting to include all 3. Do we still feel that way for interviews?
I talked all 3.
Yeah, it's, I think all three would be fine. You know, cause even this last round, I think I sort of went in thinking one thing and then I walked out. With.
This isn't how I had it ranked in my mind.
Right, right,
I felt one package came across as very rushed. A little more rushed,
Mhm.
and not where like everyone's packet was different.
Yeah, that happens all the
Resumes are
time.
incomplete and, yeah, you know, I just felt like things were a little off when cause when I opened the thing up and took mine out. I was like, oh, this is-
yeah, and I thought the same too, and then I, you know, after doing those grants and, sort of, realizing putting packets together is not my forte. But I clearly did pretty damn good with it, we, you know, at this point, I've gotten $1.5 million. Potentially in grants, I cut a little bit of slack, but I did feel the same way in a lot of areas. You know, this one was a little bit harder for me, just because I liked our time that we spent with Vola. And obviously they were with Weston O'Neill and Nick Betts from Meridian Associates knows his stuff. And so it was hard to like, you know, I just hope that I wasn't, you know, over ranking somebody. So I don't mind having all three come in to, you know, show us what they've got. I think, you know.
Probably go back and read something, because I feel like maybe I missed.
Well, clearly I missed something because I didn't even catch that it was at the end of a packet.
Well, you know, as I think you mentioned it, that, you know, at the interview, you can get a totally different feel, for a company based on what you see on paper. And as long as their proposals have met the basics, we're still allowed to move on and consider them. And, there is the finalist interview, evaluation criteria in that, you know, that scoring tally sheet that I'd given each of you. So, you know, review, if you want to prepare for the interviews with these firms, go through that again and just look at it a little, you know, kind of fine tune on that for the three different firms in preparation for the interview. If any of you know that you're gonna have specific questions that you'd like to ask these firms, it always helps if we can try to give all three firms the same questions in advance. But to do that, we should probably try to get them sent out, you know, Tuesday morning at the latest.
Yeah.
So think over
Do
the
you want my
weekend.
question now? Or do you want me to wait? and
Can you
send it
wait
to
and send it to me? Thanks. So think on it, and if you have any
Thank you.
questions you want included, send them to me, and I'll send them to Tom and have him send it
Okay.
out to the group,
Okay.
okay?
Is that a meeting that you're gonna be at, Chris? I know you're half sleeping, but maybe,
Maybe.
Maybe,
okay,
I will try,
okay,
because I feel it's important to be at that one.
yeah, okay.
All right, so I will, so we're looking to do it at 6:30 then on the 21st. I'll get that agenda finalized and sent out to the town clerk.
I did
Tomorrow.
request
You've got the
both,
room.
we have
Yeah.
the Zoom and we have the
Yeah.
room
Okay, excellent, thank
Where
you.
will we get the-
here.
It'll be here,
Here.
Here, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, I'll let them know that, we're kind of limited in terms of, you know, technographics, in terms of, you know, display, so they can pare it down to be very,
We have an HDMI port to that, too.
Yeah, if they want, that was my thought too. I'm wondering if they could just
hook up to that.
hook up to that and then we could, or they could even put it on their screen. They could actually put it on their screen if they join the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, and then
They could
share.
put it on their screen
Mhm.
and then share their screen. That
Okay.
may be, and then we have, the problem with the library one, it would have been the same problem here, is that when they're, where it was in the camera, it just, you couldn't grab all the
Yeah.
information. So it would be nice to be able to just,
I mean, we do have the option too to make it an actual in-person meeting only, right?
we could do that too.
That's the expectation, that it would be in-person meetings.
I mean, that way, if anyone in the public wants to see it, they're more than welcome, and
I'm just concerned on our quorum side of things, cause I know Colleen's got limited capacity and the punches just keep coming in our family, so I'm not sure. I don't know where I'm gonna be next week, so.
Well, I think when you say in person, I'm thinking you mean the firms, the firms. have
firms
to
for
be in
sure, yeah.
person.
no,
Yes,
I'm just thinking, you know. We're out of COVID, so we can't have a regular meeting, and we'll try and get the technology working, but
Mhm.
we all know that sometimes it doesn't
Correct,
cooperate,
right,
so.
right.
yeah,
Have we asked them for thumb drives or their presentations and stuff? We did it last time we asked for. or did we have to-
They gave it to us when they
When
left.
they- yeah, they- yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying, like, they're prepared, like, are we asking for this, or we're prepared?
Yeah, so we're gonna ask if they have handouts. We're gonna want at least, I'm gonna say 7 copies
And then a digital,
and digital copy. And I'll let them know that there is ability to connect either through their computer to Zoom or through an HDMI connection.
If
HDMI.
they connect HDMI there.
Do we
does
lose
tie
it
into
here? Yeah, so
I
they,
think the owl might see it, but that's, or is the owl connected to it?
I don't know. I think the owl is connected to it, because there's only one cord coming out. But I say that, and they have all kinds of
top,
cords
right?
over here.
Like, when you talk, it goes to the,
All right, I'll
Oh,
tell
this
them
is the
to
one
be
that's going-
prepared to go through Zoom.
Okay.
That way we know there won't be any issue.
yeah.
Okay, cross that out. Okay. Any other questions on that next step?
And if that's an issue for them, they can send me the files and I'll just put them on, I'll share my screen as we go.
Or send file to Karen?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. All right, moving on, chair updates, I do not have anything new. To share with anyone, committee updates, open space or master planning?
Master planning hasn't met, they're not anticipated to meet again until October. They're having some quorum issues, so they decided to take the summer. So we'll meet again in October.
Okay. And Tim, our new representative on the open space, have you had a chance to connect with them yet?
If not, I need to actually go get sworn in, and I just did not have time to do that this week,
Okay.
but I will have
Okay.
time on Monday.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, other business, that would come before the board, I don't have any correspondence. Any special announcements we want to put out?
No.
Okay, any board comments on anything? Okay, do we have any public comment?
Mr. Passios, do you have a comment tonight? Yep, he does. Let me get him unmuted.
Dave.
I didn't realize Dave had a mute button.
Dave, I don't know how to unmute you. All I can do is ask. Is it *9? Oh, there you go. See you, Dave.
Okay, hi, Dave.
Yeah, I had a little trouble with this last night, but I got it mastered today. My computers are down. Dave Passios, 56 Whiting Street. In our conversations at the last Finance Committee meeting, we were discussing the contracted services for grants that has been inserted in the general government budget. And I made the comments in that meeting that I would pass this, these are my thoughts now, pass this on to you guys, that I think the Parks Commission could be possibly the first ones to take advantage of these funds. And what we basically discussed, and I believe is going to be the process, is that committees, department heads, et cetera, come forward to the town manager with a proposal for XYZ grants that they believe are appropriate for the project and identify the project, of course, and then submit it to the town manager. And then it's up to the town manager to decide that it's appropriate and how much money to attach from it to it or commit to it from the 50,000. I really think it could help you guys forge forward with another series of grants without taxing your membership as much as it has you guys doing it on your own. Plus, through this process, our hope is that you get professionals that are familiar with the grant you're looking for or the specific grants and specifically for the project that you're bringing forward. I think it would be a great way to get more money for Marshall Park over the next year or so. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Dave, a question? Is this
Yep.
something that's in effect already, or is this something that will be coming up?
It's in effect.
It's in effect.
now?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Right. It's already in the budget. It's a line item in general government, so it's under the purview of the town manager.
Okay, so we need to reach out to the town manager to determine what forms or process he would be requiring?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. All right, we will pull that. Thank you for that information. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a wonderful evening.
You too. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, all right, well, that is it for this evening. I will take a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn at 7:46 PM.
Second.
All right, all in favor, roll call, Karen,
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And Anita, aye. Okay, adjourned at 7:46.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for coming tonight.
No worries.
Appreciate it.